Hello, I'm Dani Walker. Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about Miss Universe Thailand's 2021 preliminary swimsuit and evening gown competition. Before we talk about how incredible these contestants are, I have something to say about the swimsuit competition first. I think that this year's swimsuit competition was very tight. There wasn't, to me, a very clear distinction between quite a few of the contestants. These performances were so great that it was really hard to choose favorites. And that's important because I'll talk a little bit more later about the gown competition and what I thought about that. But I wanted to mention this first because I decided to narrow this down to a top 10, although I had many more favorites than that. And oh boy, I really think that interview is going to be a big determining factor for these contestants. So this is no easy task. And if I were scoring, I would have quite a few scores that were very close together. I'm going to talk about these contestants in no particular order today. Number 17, nailing it for swimsuit. My gosh, I love the expressive eyes that she has whenever she's on stage. You could see that there's just something more behind it. It's not like some contestants that sometimes enter the stage and it's that idea of the lights are on and no one's home. That's not a problem for her. She's very expressive with her eyes. Contestant number 2, huge fan favorite. I see so many of you cheering for her, leaving comments about her. Some of you shared that she's actually South African and Thai, and that she has competed before at Miss Universe South Africa, or Miss South Africa, where they crown the Miss Universe title. That's what I should say. So, wow. First of all, obviously huge front runner, and she has the performances to back it up. First of all, look at this ponytail for swim. Girl, you own that ponytail. You work that up, too. Who knows what I'm referencing? Please comment below if you know what I'm talking about. I want to say something else about her. So many of you have commented, and I've seen her during prelims, that she speaks English very well. She's fluent. And a lot of Thai fans have talked about and referenced that there could be favoritism towards contestants who speak English. And if we look at the winners from the past few years, we see that they answer their onstage questions in English and they are very fluent in English. Now, I think that without actually being in that judge's room or at that judge's orientation, we really can't make that discernment. We can't just say they're always looking for that contestant who speaks English, because the contestants who have won, I think, are great competitors. It would be different if the contestants who spoke English won didn't deserve to win. And I think that that is an important distinction to recognize before we start forming all of these theories about why certain contestants won. I don't think contestants in Thailand just win because they speak English. Watch their performances. A competition may be tight, but the contestant who wins, I think, especially recently, has still been very deserving. Number 20, guys, she hooked me from the start. That eye contact that she made with that camera, so well timed. Then she had that little smile in the middle of the runway as if I didn't already love her. She was confident, and she's easily one of my favorites. Number 13, I knew she would be great on the runway. She's a model, she has modeling experience, and you can see that. But for swim, I was dying for her to smile. Now, regardless of that, I think though that her face, once again, still stunning. That face is really carrying her for this, and the walk and the performance for swimsuit. So I still see her advancing because of that. But for finals, I just want to see a little bit of a smile or a facial expression change. Number 22 is so beautiful, and she did something really interesting with her sarong. Personally, if I were judging, I didn't think it was that necessary. I thought that it took too long to execute, but there could be judges who think that it's really cool. Regardless, she was still beautiful on that runway. Still one of my favorites. If you are new to the channel, would you please consider subscribing before you leave this episode and hitting the notifications so that you know when I release new episodes randomly throughout the week. And if you really love the channel and you want to support it, then check out my merch store, which is right below this video, right down there. Number 27, huge fan favorite here, such a beautiful contestant. I will say for this walk, I would like to see her cross over a little bit more. I think that's gonna add a lot more hip movement into it, but great looks at the end of the runway. I really appreciated her little side look. Number 23. What can I even say? The wind in that hair, easily top 5 for me. If I were judging, she's going straight to the top. Contestant number 10, this is a solid performance for me. It's not anything that was over the top. It wasn't anything that we haven't seen before, but I think that when you have a solid performance like this, if you pair that with a consistent gown and interview score, she could be moving on to the semifinals. Number 24, I talked about her in the preview, and wow, right here, she's just so pretty. And I love how she looked relaxed and like she was having fun on stage. She made it look so easy, and if you compete in pageants, you know it's not that easy to look that relaxed, because when you have this big dream and there's so much on the line, you're like, oh my gosh, I wanna win so badly. And a lot of the times, those nerves and those feelings, they get expressed through our body language, and we didn't see that here. Number 29, so gorgeous. When I see her, I just fantasize about her going to Miss Universe. Seeing that face on the Miss Universe stage and the performance I feel that she could bring, I hope she's great at on-stage question. That's all I have to say. Please be great at that. As a reminder to contestants, every single judge has a different opinion on your wardrobe, on your hair, on your makeup. You're never going to please everyone with absolutely everything, but that's why your interview is so important. It can be such a defining moment for you, so that judges, regardless of their personal preferences on your hair, makeup, and gown, regardless of any of that, that they feel a connection to you, that they are going to be on your team, and that's so important. And the way that we do that and accomplish that in pageantry is by knowing ourselves, by having a personal brand and being able to define that to the judges in the interview room in a very short amount of time. So if that's something that you need help doing, I would recommend that you check out Rehearsed to Relatable. It's an online course that you can take anytime. So check that out. Just click the description below if you want to learn more. Earlier in the episode, I talked about how swimsuit was a very tight competition. There were very small distinctions between each of the performances. Now, evening gown, on the other hand, it's a different story. For me, it was harder during this competition to find contestants with the great performance and then also wearing a gown style with the hair and makeup styling on them that suited that gown. It was hard to find everything in one. Because of this, I feel like there were some clear lines being drawn in the sand. We were really starting to separate the contestants. If I was judging, the gown competition would have weighed heavily in these contestant scores, and it's really going to determine for me who was going to be moving on to a semifinal. My hope is that for finals, some of these contestants will change their gown. I think that it can make a big difference. I've narrowed down my favorites, but also contestants who surprised me. So in no particular order, let's talk about evening gown. MUT number 2, I loved this look for her. This really was reminiscent of Ellie Saab gowns for me, which I'm a huge fan of. Gosh, that would be a dream designer to work with. Wow, I could only imagine. But I really like this look. It was very soft on her, very, very pretty, great performance. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to see the ending pose, so I can't really weigh in on that. MUT number 20. When she came out in that gown with those little tie accents on it, that gown was unique. It was beautiful on her. She had a wonderful performance to complement it. Instantly for me, top 5, right there. If not top 3. Yes, such an easy choice. Number 13, this gown was a bit daring, right? This is not a conventional competition gown, but it sort of looked like a tuxedo, and I love that. Do you guys remember when Nicole, she wore that tux outfit to host Binibining Pilipinas? Anyone? You know what I'm talking about? That tux looking outfit that I'm obsessed with, that I would love to wear. Anyways, I'm going off on a rant, but I love that look. I think it's really fun. I like that there were pockets on this dress and that she knew how to show them off. That modeling experience is coming in handy. You don't want to get on stage with a dress with pockets and miss the pocket. You know, that's not great execution, but she did it. And guys, she finally brought out a little bit of a smile on stage. Thank you. Keep it coming. Keep it coming for finals. MUT number 1 gave a solid performance for gown. And if you haven't noticed her before, please notice her now. I've noticed her throughout the competition, although she isn't someone that has really been labeled as a front runner. Regardless of that, she deserves a great score for this performance because I think that she earned it. The gown is relatively simple. It's not a design that's so unique that we haven't really seen something like it before. And her styling was simple as well, but when we put it all together, it was working. And the performance that went along with all of that is what made it great. And I think because of this, she should be someone that people are noticing. Number 10 did a great job working this gown, and she was incredibly elegant, and I personally love elegance for evening gown competitions. Number 29 has such an elegant aura about her that I love. Now, I don't think that this was the best gown choice for the competition. I don't think it translated quite as well on stage. I actually talked about this when I was recapping Miss Universe Philippines this year when I was referencing Steffi. Beautiful gown, beautiful contestant, but I just think that there are other styles that are better suited for pageantry and for a competitive arena. And so I'm hopeful that she can change her gown for finals. I am going to talk about contestants 4 and 5 because I feel like there is a tie there in terms of performance, and that tie would be broken by other judges if I were on a panel. But to me, these deserved a very similar score. I loved the gown that number 4 wore. I loved the corseted waist on it. It was a really, really pretty style. And number 5, what I really liked was the neck of this gown. It was well done. The white looked great. I really feel like so many contestants can wear white on stage and it looks beautiful. There used to be a saying in pageantry back in the early 2000s and probably before then, saying that winners wear white. There was a superstition back then, at least when I was competing, about white gowns. And I don't necessarily think that that's true that winners wear white, but white is a really, really beautiful classic color that so many contestants can wear on stage. I'm saying that these two are a tie because once again, we're seeing two contestants that aren't necessarily huge front runners in the competition, but these performances paired with their wardrobe and their styling made me pause. It made me really think about them. These are the types of contestants that when I score at a pageant, I think the score that I give them can really impact them. Because if you are not what I would call safe, a contestant that clearly should be moving on, advancing easily into a top 5, if you're not safe, then when a judge scores you, one bad score can prevent you from going into a semifinal. So when I watch contestants like this and performance like this, when I judge, I'm really thinking about that. Number 17, loved this, was loving this whole thing that was going on, but the version that I saw got cut off. I didn't get to see the end of it. So I felt a little bit mixed on this, but I hope that the end was great. Number 23, the way that the fabric trailed behind her was so dramatic and so beautiful and attention grabbing. I loved it. I didn't think she needed to throw the fabric. I think actually that takes away from the elegance of that performance, but I don't care. She was still stunning. It was incredible. Another one of the contestants that if I were judging would get a top score. Number 16, this look was pageantry 101 for a national pageant. She is in a beautiful fitted dress. The hair is pulled back. She looks glamorous. But what I liked about this was the pivot that she executed, and then also the ending pose was perfection. I can only imagine how long it took to make sure, bam, I'm hitting that exact pose every single time. It worked. I have another tie. And it's a tie that I did not expect to have because I have been loving both of these contestants. And I assume that for finals, they're probably still going to be fine. I could still see them making a semifinal cut, but this is not what I expected to see them bring to the to the preliminary competition. So number 24, loved this gown. It was so couture. It was not at all what I would have expected to see her in, because to me, she has such a sweet aura about her that you would think putting her in something flowier, maybe a soft pink, ultra feminine. I could see something like that, but this was very red carpet chic, and I loved that. Loved the styling, everything there. But I do think that she went a little hard on the performance. I think that we should have seen a little bit more of that softer side and some kind of smile somewhere during this performance. So for me, that was a really big surprise, and I think that there are changes that can be made for finals for sure to help her really easily move forward throughout the competition. And then number 27, also been one of my favorites, but I did not love this gown on her for prelims. My favorite feature of the gown was the back. I thought that looked beautiful on her. She's so tall. She pulls off this gown very, very well. I think that this shade of green, though, was very dark on this stage, so that wasn't really helping her in any way. And it was overall very, very simple, and I just didn't feel like there was this wow moment for her in that gown. I think that if she wore something else, that it would have been more of this like wow performance. So another contestant I'm hoping to see change her gown for finals. Those were my favorites for preliminaries. I can't believe preliminaries are already done. I cannot wait for finals. So tell me, who are your favorites though? Leave those in the comments below. Remember, friends, let's be kind to one another. Let's be careful with the words that we choose because they matter. So thank you so much for watching this episode. If you want to see more like this on the channel, let me know. If you want to see something different, also let me know. Leave your requests in the comments below. I appreciate you tuning in. I hope that you are going to share this episode with your friends if you enjoyed it, and that you've already subscribed, and that you'll choose to come back for lots more.